Hey guys, this is Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another video for you guys as we are now here to talk again the newest series review on the channel of an anime slash TV show that I am reviewing, and that is Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Now, if you watch my introduction video to my new series review announcement about this, what I pretty much said in that video is that I'm going to review every single episode of Bakugan from the very first episode, which is this episode, to the to pretty much the last episode of the series, in Mectanium Surge. So, let's get into this episode of Bakugan Battle Brawlers of the original series, the first episode. So pretty much Bakugan, the show starts off with Dan narrating the show, and he pretty much says that one day these cars just randomly fell out of the sky, and pretty much everybody, got one of these cards. All of a sudden, these magical balls came out of these cards, and these creatures came out of them, and they were called, or they're known and called as Bakugan. And because it became a trend with people ended up creating a whole Bakugan League and everything, and it's pretty much like a strategic battling game and stuff like that. You get your typical introduction to the show that they do in almost every episode of the original series of, hey, my name is Dan, my friends are Marucho, Runo, Julie, Shun, and Alice, and we are the Bakugan Battle Brawlers and stuff like that. Which leads into the opening of the song, which I think we can say the opening theme for Bakugan Battle Brawlers is legitimately one of the most iconic songs or opening themes of any anime slash TV show anybody's have watched in their past, because it's catchy, it's badass. And the fact that this main opening song went on for the entire series, it's freaking shocking, because typically they change up the openings. The only thing about the opening that they change up is the visuals for each of the different representations, but they keep the whole, what are you gonna do? The odds are stacked against you. That song, it always holds a soft space in my heart. It's very catchy and stuff like that, and I just love it. I think every Bakugan fan loves it because it's a dope ass song, and stuff like that. So yes, let's get into this episode. So after pretty much the introduction to what the basis of the show is going to be about, and just the standard typical stuff about Bakugan, is we end up meeting our main character of the show, which he is pretty much the quote-unquote leader of the Bakugan Battle Brawlers, and that is Dan. Now, Dan, he's pretty much, like I said, he's my favorite character out of the bunch, out of the entire series, and he is very much a hothead, and like any main character based on the same representative anime and stuff like that, they like to do things. For example, Goku loves to fight. Ash likes to do Pokemon battles. I kind of might as well kind of compare this to Pokemon a lot, because it kind of has some similarities as well to Pokemon in a way, but Dan is kind of like Ash. In some cases, he can get to be a hothead and acts a little bit too much like a freaking little kid, but the one thing that him and Ash do have in common is they like to battle with the representative, creatures. In Ash's case, Pokemon. In Dan's case, Bakugan. We see later on in the episode, he's fairly a cocky individual as well. He calls himself pretty much the best Bakugan Battle Brawler, which, by the time the end of the original series ends, and pretty much through on the rest of the series, he pretty much is the best Bakugan Battle Brawler, because, like I said, he's the main character. Why would your main character not be the best Bakugan Battle Brawler? And stuff like that. But he's pretty much very cocky and he has a lot of confidence in his abilities and stuff like that. So yeah, he ends up, leaving his house and he kind of becomes kind of a pain in the butt. And I remember, and to his mom and his family and stuff like that. And then, when I was watching this episode, I just remembered, I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, Dan's mom is a snack, yo. She is a snack. Those yoga poses she was doing was hilarious as hell. But I'm like, oh yeah, Dan's mom was a snack. There's a few Battle Brawlers. I'm like, there's a few of the Battle Brawlers, family members that look like snacks. None of Reno's families are snacks. I think Marucho's mom is actually kind of a snack. I know Shun's mom, even though when we'll get to that episode review, which was pretty tragic for his character backstory and stuff like that, his mom was kind of a snack as well. I know Julie's. I don't know. I don't remember if we see Julie. I don't remember if we do see Julie in the Julie's mother in the series. I think we do, but I know her sister's a whole snack. There's a lot of girls, for some reason, there's a lot of girls that I think are snacks in the freaking show. I think Julie is a snack. She does get annoying at sometimes, but I think Julie's a snack. Alice is a whole snack. Bruno, I think she's a snack too. Now, the one girl I loved, I think the most in the original series that I thought was a whole snack, it was Chan Li. Now, Chan Li was a snack, and when we meet her, trust me, I'm gonna start simping for Chan Li. But anyways, going on, so I don't freaking talk about my freaking Bakugan chicks that I simp for and stuff like that. Even though pretty much every Bakugan girl pretty much looks like a whole snack, but we'll see. Anyways. He ends up fighting this guy, or he has this rivalry like with this kid named Akira, who ended up bringing his older brother named Shuji to end up fighting Dan, because Akira's been getting the better of or Dan's been getting the better of Akira, and pretty much Shuji's like, I heard my little brother said, all of this and stuff like that, so I'm gonna take you down. So pretty much we get introduced to how a Bakugan battle starts. Pretty much a Bakugan battle starts is when two of the battlers, are ready to fight, they use their card and they just say field open. Pretty much the interesting thing is, on planet Earth, we see how when a brawler activates a Bakugan Brawl, well, the time around them pretty much slows down. Now, even to this day, I don't know if they specify it, because like the entire world, the entire planet legitimately shuts down, or if you're in that indirect area of where the battle is taking place, that's where time around that area slows down. I'm guessing that's the thing that makes sense. I still don't know this to this day, which is shocking, but I think that's what particularly happened. I think if you're far away enough, the time won't stop for you, but if you're like close to it, then the time legitimately stops. And when the battle starts, the two battlers, they end up in this weird looking dimension with pretty much the 6 attribute like areas around them and stuff like that. They pretty much set their gate cards down, and this is when the game turns into a strategic thing. And this is one of the best things that a lot of people loved with the original series, that when you get to the later series, they kind of take out the elements of strategicness and they kind of make it just a kind of a beat 'em up, who's more powerful type of, match game type of thing. But this was one of the things that a lot of people loved about the iconic series, because it had legitimate strategy in it, and they focused on strategy a lot, and stuff like that. So pretty much the thing with a Bakugan battle is you have to beat your opponent 3 times to win the battle. Essentially, you can throw down your Bakugan on their opponent gate card or your opponent gate card. You open your gate card, yada yada yada. You can get a power increase, or it could be a potential trap card, or any other types of bonuses and stuff like that, with ability cards being stacked on top of it to increase the power of your said Bakugan, and stuff like that. And then Bakugan, when they get thrown down, they have an individual power level called the G system, which, again, just like, I mentioned about the whole strategicness of the game, the same thing goes with the G system, the G power level system. They end up taking that G power level system like at some point after, like, when at some point in Gundalian's Invaders, and they don't really focus on that stuff anymore, when the G system used to be a whole actual, like, legitimately, like, power thing. But by the time you get to the back half of Gundalian Invaders and Mectanium Surge, the G system is completely dead, which again is another reason why some people fell out of love with the series as it started to wane, not only because they grew older, but because they kind of took away some elements that made the original series and even New Vestroia fairly good for what it was, and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, in the first battle, Shuji ends up throwing on his Mantis, and ends up throwing on his Serpentor. I believe that's the Bakugan's name. It looks like a snake, and Mantris, well, it looks like a praying Mantris. Shuji gets the better of Dan in the first matchup. So in the second matchup, well, Dan sends out his Falconeer, and Shuji brings out his Tarot Claw, which his Tarot Claw is a sword. Falconeer, well, it's pretty much a man falcon, I guess you can say. Some of the designs for some of the Bakugan, especially the early stage Bakugan, were pretty cool, and stuff like that. I will say, as the series goes on, the way the Bakugan tend to look, they do end up looking a little bit weird and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is kind of unique designs, because that's the thing. But it's kind of the thing that also kind of sucks too, because it's like when you get to the later stages, they don't really bring back the Bakugan from the original series, mostly because they're a much weaker Bakugan than, when you get to Mectanium Surge, which it still kind of sucks in some cases, but it is what it is and stuff like that. It isn't like how in Pokemon, they legitimately bring back old Pokemon for every new generation and stuff like that. With this series, the more it progresses, the more the old Bakugan start to fade out. Like, for example, like you see, Fear Ripper, you don't see him never again by the time you get to Gundalian Invaders, which I don't know, it makes no sense, but okay, yeah. Anyways, that's the whole thing. Going on to the third battle, or the second battle, Dan beats Shuji again, so it's pretty much a tie matchup. And stuff like that. So in the third battle, Dan's Saurus ends up beating his Saurus, Shuji's Saurus, and then pretty much, Dan finishes it off against beating his Mantris, and the battle ends and stuff like that. So Shuji's obviously disappointed that he lost, and Akira's like, oh, how pathetic could you lose to him? Anyways, Dan heads back to his place. He ends up having an online chat with his friends, who are Runo, Julie, Marucho, and Alice. And fun fact, I think the Marucho voice actor actually changed, because his voice actor is legitimately different from when we hear him later on in the series, or when he makes his finally his in-person anime appearance and stuff like that. But they pretty much kind of they're all virtual friends and stuff like that. And the thing is, we don't find out till later on, I think episode 3 or 4, that they all find out oh, these guys actually live fairly close to each other, with the exception, I think, of Julie, and stuff like that. But for the fact, Dan and Runo, they pretty much live legitimately next to each other. They're close by each other, as well as Marucho and stuff like that. And Dan's pretty much hyping himself up, saying yo, he's the best battle brawler. And Runo, she gets on him, saying oh, please, you're nothing special. You're not even even in the top 10, bro. And we find out his ranking is 117, which is that's not even close to even being top 100. He's not even top 100. He is top 110, bro. And stuff like that. But like I said, that goes to show you how cocky Dan is in his abilities and stuff like that. And again, Runo kind of takes offense to that and stuff like that. Again, the personalities of Runo, and I guess I can get to the personalities of the character. Runo, obviously, when she makes her appearance and she has her whole things with Dan, she's pretty much a tomboy-like character. And again, has the traits of a tsundere, especially when it comes to Dan, because those two legitimately end up growing a romantic relationship as the season progresses. Julie, she's kind of your typical, I wouldn't say yandere, but she has a crush on Dan, but she kind of is the more positive, person out of the battle brawlers that tries to uplift everybody and stuff like that. Again, I think she is a snack and she's hot. But that's the thing. I think it's just her outfit and everything that makes it hot about her and stuff like that. And Marucho, he's pretty much he's the smart one of the group. He's like, you can say, the one with the IQ and everything, and stuff like that. And then Alice, again, she's kind of another smart battle brawler. But the one thing we know is she doesn't really do Bakugan battles. She's kind of just the person that can kind of give the information to help the heroes find a way to counteract things and get stronger and stuff like that. So yeah, now Alice and now Marucho ends up bringing about the fact of, because Dan's when he's like, hey, maybe you could actually challenge Shun within a few years. And Alice is wondering, like, a few years, like, it's very interesting, like, if you get strong enough, what if you're able to, how would you be able to, find him then and soon, like sooner than maybe years? And Dan kind of just pushes it aside. He's like, oh yeah, that guy and stuff like that. Well, who cares? He's like, I'll find, one day I'm gonna beat Shun. And that is the little foreshadowing hint to the whole thing about Dan and Shun's relationship and stuff like that. But you can see that in this episode, Dan looks like he doesn't really care to know what Shun is doing, or if anything, he tries to brush it off. And we do actually cut over to Shun, and pretty much Shun, we find out Shun is the #1 brawler in all of the game, and pretty much we see him just saying, like, nothing, battling, but Bakugan battles aren't even fun to me anymore. I pretty much am the king of the hill. I'm the best battle brawler, and there's nobody that can touch me on my level and stuff like that. So that's kind of thing. Anyways, that's when we cut over to one of the main Bakugan characters, Dragonoid, Pyrus Dragonoid, or aka Drago, and he pretty much kind of narrates in his own self, if only Dan and the other humans understood what truly was going on. Pretty much, he goes on to make the mention that the Bakugan live in this different reality, or this different world called Vestroia. And there are 6 different elements. The fire attribute, which is Pyrus, the water attribute, which is Aquas, the wind attribute, which is Ventus, the light attribute, which is Chaos, and the earth attribute, that is Subterra, and then the last attribute, which is the attribute of darkness, which is Darkest. And funny enough, there is a Bakugan Battle Brawlers game. There's actually 2 of them. One, Defenders of the Core, which is based off the new Vestroia stuff, but there's also one based on the original series. And typically when I played that one, I would always go with the Darkest attribute, because there was no Darkest, Battle Brawler, unless I guess you count, who you'll see next week in Masquerade and stuff like that, but it is what it is. So, that's the whole thing there. Now, Drago's in his own attribute homeworld, and we see this other Dragonoid called Naga, who is white, and Drago's trying to get in the way, and he's trying to stop this character named Naga from getting this power that he deems unlimited, and he could pretty much use it to be all powerful. Now, Drago tells Naga, listen, you can't obtain this power because it's going to destroy you. And I also know that you've been apparently instigating this whole plan with a human named Michael. What the hell is going on? Tell me. And Naga is like, oh, please, you don't understand what I'm doing. I'm doing this for the betterment of our world and stuff like that. Also, do you know what this is? And at the same time, Naga shows Drago this card, this Bakugan card. He throws it and it pretty much creates a portal. Naga goes through this said portal. For some reason, Drago doesn't follow him, but okay. And stuff like that. So yeah, now Naga uses this said portal to get to the dimension of Vestroia. We cut back to Dan, and some time has passed in the day, and I guess Shuji confronts him again, and they have another Bakugan brawl. our Bakugan battle. This time, Shuji is using darkest Bakugan because in the first battle he used Subterra Bakugan, and at the point in time, Shuji is getting the upper hand on Dan, because his darkest Bakugan is a lot stronger than Dan's Pokemon. I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm gonna keep messing that up. Bakugan. But in the meantime, we go over to what Naga's doing, and we see he gets to the center of Astroya pretty much, where the Infinity Core and the Silent Core are there, and they pretty much kind of maintain the balance of the Bakugan world. Now he says he wants to pretty much take control of both the Infinity and the Silent Core, be able to unite with them, and then use it to also as well unite with how this person he names Hal G, and with this unlimited power, they can be able to use the power to not only take over the human world, but the Bakugan world. So we already get established to our main villain, which is Naga. At the same time, we get established this other mysterious person named Hal G, and stuff like that, who we find out who is a human. And stuff like that. Now, when Naga he starts at first trying to take the Silent Core's power, but because the Silent Core's power is way too much for him to handle, he ends up being consumed by the Silent Core. And because of this kind of sets an offset of whole things messing up, and the Bakugan and Vestroya end up getting affected by the negative energy coming off the Silent Core. Because of it activates this Fear Reaper that ends up crossing into the Pirate's dimension, and he ends up starting to fight Drago, and stuff like that. Now we come back to the battle with Dan. Dan opens his gate card that pretty much has a quartet battle, which 4 Bakugan fight at the same time, pretty much. And when this activates, Drago and the Fear Ripper Drago is fighting ends up being transported to the human world in the dimension Dan and Shuji are battling in, and pretty much in this fight, Drago's trying to talk this Fear Ripper down, saying, "Listen, dude, you need to come to your senses, man. The Silent Core's negative energy is rubbing off on you, and it's making you out of control." But at the same time, we find Drago also makes a mention that the negative energy is also making the Fear Ripper a lot stronger. Because of this, Drago kind of takes things into his own hands and uses his best attack in this state, and that's Boosted Dragon. Now, in the meantime, Dan's seeing this all happen and everything. We even see a part where he sees a vision of this fight going on. But the most important thing was when Drago shows up on the battlefield, he actually hears Drago talking, and he's wondering, wait, I just heard my Bakugan talk. What the hell is going on here? And stuff like that. Anyways, the battle ends. Dan ends up beating Shuji again. Dan is just kind of perplexed with what happened in, the battle, and he's like, my Bakugan just talked. Maybe there's more to Bakugan than just a game, which it ends up becoming a kind of a story point / staple going on for the rest of the series. The whole thing is that Bakugan ultimately is not a game. These are living creatures that got brought over to the human world because of selfishness of one Bakugan, pretty much. And that's the one element I love about the original series, and even when it cuts into New Vestroy and stuff like that, with the understanding of Bakugan are legitimate creatures and stuff like that. They're not items, they're not toys, pretty much. And that's going to be like a huge element of the next episode, in episode 2 and stuff like that. It's kind of it's kind of like when it comes to, I guess, putting up animals in real life. Some people may if these unique creatures, or I wouldn't say animals, just say these unique creatures, they came to Earth and it created a whole game, well, then you wouldn't see this as like some sort of game. Or you would see this as a game. You wouldn't think, oh, maybe these things are actually living creatures and stuff like that. So, that's kind of the thing and everything. Anyways, after he gets back home, he's trying to see if Drago's going to talk to him, and that's when he also gives the nickname Drago to Dragonoid. That's when he gives the nickname. Like I said, he gives the nickname to Drago, and he's trying to get Drago to talk, but Drago's not saying absolutely anything. He's just rolled up into his ball and everything. Dan ends up going back on the internet, ends up talking to his internet friends in Runo, Marucho, Julie, and Alice, and he pretty much is like, yo, this crazy thing happened to me. My Bakugan actually talked and I heard it. And pretty much Runo's like, wait, you too? Because I did the same thing. And pretty much Julie pulls up the fact that all these other people who are doing Bakugan battles, they heard the same exact thing as well, that they heard their Bakugan talk and everything, and how unique it was and how crazy it was. And Dan's honestly like shocked at like what the hell is going on here, and stuff like that. And he's like wondering like maybe this really is more than a freaking game. And that's kind of where the episode ends off and everything. So in terms of the first episode of Bakugan, I thought this episode was very good, very solid in the introduction of the series. You get introduced to your main character. At the same time, you also get introduced to the main villain of the show, which is Naga. And you're pretty much set on this road to find out, is Bakugan more than just a game? What is the truth behind these creatures and stuff like that, and everything. So yeah, if you watch the next, the next episode, episode 2, it focuses more again on Dan's relationship with Drago, building. Again, the whole thing is that other people kind of see it as a toy and stuff like that, but at the same time, he gets challenged by another main antagonist of the original series, and that is probably one of the best main antagonists in the series. If not, I guess probably the second best main antagonist of the series, and that is Masquerade. So next Bakugan Battle Brawler episode, in episode 2, I'll come back and we can talk the second episode about Masquerade's very first appearance in the show. Anyways, guys, if you guys liked the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on the first episode of Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Did you enjoy it, or did you not like it? Anyways, guys, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Country 15 content or more Bakugan content as I upload the channel, because like I said, I'm reviewing each and every episode of Bakugan from beginning to end and stuff like that. So when you do hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you're up to date with whatever I upload to the channel, and it goes straight to your inbox. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day or knowledge in this video. Until then, guys, peace.